The 91.7 KPSU, Goodwill, Oklahoma, the Tie Fly and the Doug Bug Show, without Daddy Dave. Actually, it's kind of a weird situation. We had a show without David.
Then he joined the show.
No, because remember, we had the snow day, and so me and you were stuck in Guyman and couldn't make it back. And of course, Dave was stuck in his own house. And then now we got this Friday without David, so he hasn't been with us all month.
You already miss him already?
Not really. For our YouTube viewers who don't know, we're on the campus of OPSU. This is a college radio station. We look at our OPSU sports.
And most of Oklahoma, too.
Most, yeah. So we're going to go to our basketball team. So we're a Division II team and member of the Heartland Conference. We're going to start with girls. Our girls currently sit 6th. Our playoff format is top 6 go.
I was pretty sure we're staying in the top 6, but where we go from here, it's going to be hard. Because we play 2 teams above us, then 2 teams below us with the... Like, we all have 3 wins, but the 2 teams above us have 5 losses, 2 teams below us have 7.
Well, let's go ahead and look at the standings here. Incarnate Word, 9-1 on a 4-game win streak. St. Mary's 7-2 on a 1-game win streak. Texas Permian Basin sits at 5-3.
But OPSU swept them.
Yeah. St. Edward's at 3-5. Texas A&M International 3-5. OPSU 3-6. And then Lincoln and Newman rounding out the standings at 3-7. University of Arkansas Fort Smith is a member of the conference, but they're kind of like an alliance member like we are in football with the Central States Football League.
So they don't get credit for a conference victory.
Exactly. Let's look at the rest of the games left for OPSU and what could happen. For the girls are 5.5 games back of Incarnate Word.
5, yeah.
And lost both games to Incarnate Word. So the chances of OPSU winning the conference is slight to none.
But it's already slim to none because that's 6 conference games left. And
Incarnate Word's not going to lose many. They would have to lose all their games.
And we have to win out.
And then we'd still be tied and they'd beat us out in the tiebreaker. They're 4 games behind St. Mary's. St. Mary's won the first game by 20. And the second game is tomorrow.
But they have a pretty dominant player.
Well, it's one of those teams that, they are challenging Incarnate Word. This is definitely a 2-team conference, and everything else is up in the air.
Yeah, it's from 3rd place all the way to last. It's a battle, but top 2 sweep everyone else.
Texas Permian Basin is 2.5 games ahead of OPSU, but OPSU swept them out in the series. So if OPSU gets some big victories coming up here, and Texas Permian Basin drops the ball with a few teams, OPSU will pass them. They're a half game behind St. Edward's and Texas A&M. They have a win over St. Edward's, but a loss over Texas A&M.
And they play the 18th to the 20th.
On the same weekend. That's going to be a very tough stretch.
If they win both, that puts it ahead. But it's a lot of ifs.
They're going to really have to change scheduling eventually because it just seems like OPSU just gets punched in the face and then punched in the face again with the way that the schedule works out. Their half-game lead, though, is over Lincoln and Newman, but they have losses to both those teams. And those games at the end of the season, the 25th and the 27th.
But this is a weekend right after we play the teams that are half game ahead of us. Then we play the half-game teams behind us to end the season.
So this is really going to shape it up. These 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, we're really going to find out from 3rd to last place where everyone sits.
We need at least win 2 to be in the playoff hunt, though.
And what's sad is those are all road games.
Yeah.
And, the rule in college basketball, you win your home games, you're going to be there.
You'll be close on the road games if you win your home games. But if someone comes to your court and win, they have an advantage.
And Lincoln and Newman did that to OPSU. St. Edward's and Texas A&M was the split. Going to the men's side, and this is a lot closer race in all categories. Incarnate Word 8-3 up at top. Newman 8-3 also, but I think they lost the head-to-head with Incarnate Word.
Yeah, Newman was first in the conference, but they haven't played Incarnate Word, and that kind of took them out.
Well, and then looking at St. Mary's at third place at 7-4, Dallas Baptist at 4, with the record of 6-4, and then of course OPSU 5-5, and 6 Texas A&M International 5-5, St. Edwards 4-6, Texas Permian Basin 3-7, Lincoln rounding out the bottom, and basically the only team that has no chance
is Lincoln
at 1-10.
Texas Permian Basin needs a lot of luck. So does St. Edwards, but
looking at the games, 6 conference games left for OPSU, 2.5 back of Incarnate Word, but Incarnate Word swept them.
And 2.5 games back in Newman, and Newman won the first game. The second game's on the 25th.
But that first game was decided by 4 points, and it doesn't help that Newman's point guard goes for 10 for 11 from beyond 3-point arc.
If he won't have that type of game, but he's been consistent in making threes. Just you don't see every day someone shoot 10 out of 11.
It was pretty crazy. He was obviously player of the week in the conference. 38 points against OPSU. 30 of them come from beyond the arc. What are you gonna do about that?
And it wasn't bad defense either. Just his shot making ability, and puts in the hole and it went in.
1.5 games back of St. Mary's. OPSU though holds the tiebreaker so far with the first game victory. Second game coming Saturday, of course. A half game back of Dallas Baptist.
We beat Dallas Baptist, but they weren't one of the key players, and now they come to our place
next Saturday.
So this could be a very good game.
They are, of course, tied with Texas A&M International, but OPSU won the first game, so that's why they're ahead of them in the standings. Second game on the 20th. They have a 1-game lead over St. Edwards, winning the first game. St. Edwards won the first game. Second game is the 18th.
We better not lose to them again.
They have a 2-game lead over Texas Permian Basin, which actually we split with them.
But one game we should have won, just there was a defensive.
Honestly, Texas Permian Basin, they like to run the clock. They don't have enough players on their roster to be able to run
up and down the court.
Exactly.
Score. They have to, if the shot clock 35 seconds, they don't shoot till 33, 34, every possession.
Oh, it's awful how late they shoot. And then they'll get an offensive rebound.
And then you have to wait.
And run the clock out more. We were talking Saturday with Marcel Marshall about it, and he was just like, it's just so frustrating, You wait there for 30 seconds for them to put up a shot.
And you better get
and then they get the rebound, and they have another 30 seconds, and then you look up at the clock, and a minute has ran off, and you haven't even touched the ball. And he said that was the part that got annoying with that offense.
But the second time we played them, we put the beating on them.
Well, not really. It really wasn't until the last 4 minutes that OPSU finally took over that game.
But it had the makings of the first game.
And then, of course, the team last in the conference, the Aggies have a 4.5 game lead over Lincoln. The Aggies won the first game. Second game is the 27th.
That should be a confidence builder going to the conference tournament.
Exactly, seeing that that's the last game of the season, and we just shot down whoever schedules these games for saying, why did you do that?
But who would have predicted that the girls get punched in the face, but the guys have a pretty easy finishing schedule?
Well, we talked about this as, the girls do seem to have the better team this year. The boys are coming together as a whole.
But they should be better, much better next year.
They will be. So alrighty, well, it looks like our 10 minutes is up, and we're going to have to go back to another commercial break. So we are going to play you some Fort Minor, and then come back with more sports talk.